Okay, prep day today starts. It's been a little bit since I've got all my stuff organized, years, so I need to turn my messy basement. Gosh, gotta get my messy basement up to tip top shape again. Inventory my stuff. Everybody should do this. Everybody should have emergency gear on hand, enough to be able to survive anything. Could be power outage, could be gosh, you don't know. I could get crazy with things like uh, an EMP. I don't believe in things like what do they call that when they think the polar flip or whatever they call that. I don't think things like that are going to happen. I don't think we're going to get into something like that. But EMPs are real things. Um, Power grid going down is a real thing. Those things can happen. We live in a society where everybody's just so used to our routines, and we're spinning on this perfect axis, and it takes like nothing for that to to get off axis, and then all of a sudden things are crazy. I spent over 5 years in the Coast Guard, spent times in disaster zones. Not Iraq, not Iran. I'm not talking war zones. I'm talking disaster zones, places after hurricanes hit, where people did not have basic necessities like food and water. And some people think preppers are crazy. Um, my own wife used to think that I was crazy. She used to think maybe it's like a hobby. I get joy out of doing it. The joy I get is out of providing for my family in a time of need. But the reality is, I could not expect her to understand what it is like to be in a disaster zone because she's never been in one. So I used to kind of get upset with her, thinking, well, I would be almost offended that she would think that I was crazy. And then I thought, well, she has no context. All she knows as a 30-something-year-old white woman who lives in a middle class neighborhood in America, all she knows is like she goes to Wegmans and picks up whatever she wants. And if they're out of whatever little item she may want, which might occasionally happen, um, it's kind of a bummer. Has no idea what it's like to look for water, basic, really basic things. And last night we were actually talking, and I said, just think of this. Think of any of my family or your family. Just think of what will happen if something as simple as the power grid goes down for 2 weeks. None of us are electrical engineers. We have no idea what it takes for the power grid to go down. And so we have faith in a system we don't know a ton about. So I just think of what happens. What's the very first thing people are going to do when the stuff in their house runs out? They're going to go to the places that everybody else is going to go to try to replace those things. They're going to go to the store. They're going to go down to Walmart. They're going to go to Kmart, Publix, or not Kmart, it's out of business. Publix, Albertsons, Tops, any of those kind of places. Everybody's going to do the exact same thing. So they're all going to go to a store. That store may or may not have some things left, but they certainly are not going to have the basic necessities like water. That's going to go really, really quick. So then they're all going to go to the next store, which is already going to be combed over at that point. Then they're going to go to the next store, and people's tension is going to start raising. And then that's where things break out like riots. You do not want to be stuck in something like that when right now, today, you could go to the store and buy anything you want. You could literally spend less than $200 and buy anything you want or need in a survival situation. Water, canned goods, fever medication, band-aids, bleach, any duct tape, anything you can think of. And at some point, maybe I'll post a list you could get right now without fighting in a line. So why don't we do it? We insure our phones. We insure every single thing that we own. Let's think. We insure our houses, our cars, our cell phones, our lives. We insure our lives to make sure somebody else gets money if something happens to us. Why don't we take out an insurance policy to a certain degree on our present day life, to make sure we can continue to survive? instead of paying $300 a month for life insurance, or instead of paying $60 a month for car insurance, why don't you just spend like 200, 250 bucks, get a bunch of stuff, keep it in the corner of your basement, some long lasting canned goods, water, those basic necessities I listed, and know that it's there if something crazy ever happens, maybe even like the coronavirus. All right, I'll post an update here in a little bit.
Peace.